So my dad works for Nestle.
Okay.
They actually just laid off a bunch of people, but they kept
Nestle,
him.
like the chocolate milk?
Yes, but different like side of that company. But
Okay,
yes,
cool.
that company. He
Well,
does
tell him to hook it up.
Yeah.
he does like DiGiorno pizzas.
Okay,
and, like,
well, tell him to hook it up.
Yeah.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Austin Lewis here, coming to you guys with my partner in crime, Mr. Austin Zaback. Welcome back to the A&A show. This is going to be good. We got the Mr. White here, as you guys might know him as Nick White, man. Yes, I'm excited for this podcast because this is also another fellow podcaster, baby.
Yeah.
Ow, this
It's going to be a lot of fun, man.
It's going to be
a lot of fun.
You know, podcasters helping other podcasters. Of course, Austin and I, we can come on now. We consider, it's 10 a.m. here, still sleeping supposedly, or I just haven't drank enough scotch, but
Yeah.
we consider the A&A show an actual show. Podcast is great. It's amazing. All of you guys that are listening on there, make sure and definitely give us some reviews. Make sure and subscribe. If you guys are on YouTube, make sure and like this video. And before we jump into this, Mr. Nick White, I just figured I'd say, Mr. Zaback here, we are looking a little empty, bro.
We are completely out of
You know what
scotch,
I mean?
which is probably okay because it's 10 a.m., right?
Yeah,
At the end of the day. So,
it is 10 a.m. So, you know, again,
the
sponsors.
Yep.
We got an issue.
We're looking a little low. Hey, and our next podcast is going to be an afternoon one.
Yes.
So today we're going to be sober. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It will be good.
And the next one, 50-50. So
50-50. More like 80-20, but you know, I'll call it for now. And when you guys see this episode, you guys stay tuned for the next episode because I'll probably get lit like Katy Perry, like a firework.
I like that. So before we jump in, and this is going to be a good one. I actually don't know anything about you, Nick White, which I think will be a lot of fun, right? Because I like shooting it off the hip. Austin knows more about you than I do, but you know, if you guys haven't already, okay, all we ask of you for watching the show is just to share this with a bunch of people, right? Share it with your friend. If you get some value, you know, let them know what you liked, what you didn't like, you know, the whole nine. You know, like the video, subscribe, obviously, if you're on YouTube, whatever you got to do. That's all we ask. So how do we intro Mr. Nick White over here, Austin Lewis?
Dude, I mean, I think we'll just let him intro himself somewhat.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, keep it kind of interesting. We're used to, you know, introing everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to dive into this, Austin, just like about the, you know, the podcast. You know, he's local here in Scottsdale, right?
Yep.
Not
Scottsdale.
Phoenix, Mesa, Gilbert, but you in the Dale.
I'm in the Dale.
Okay.
In the Dale.
So that right there, my respect level went from here to here.
There you go.
Right?
That's what it's all about.
That's why you pay extra for the area code,
Exactly.
right?
That's exactly right. Yeah. It's like, what's the Beverly Hills one? 95010 or what is
Something.
it?
I don't know.
90210.
That's it,
90210.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure.
I love it.
I like that. So I'm excited to dive into that, Nick, but just kind of give us, like, you know, your background story, right? Obviously, we were talking before the show, you're in the military and all that other good stuff, so we'll definitely dive into that. But, I mean, obviously, you're 26 years old. I was able to catch that from you. You're from Iowa, so you moved out to the Dale for some reason, which we'll get a chance to hear. But kind of break down what it is that you do, man, what it is that you're looking to do, and more importantly, why you're so excited about what you got going on, bro.
Yeah, so I actually... before I started off my podcast, by the way, Side of Mayo show, I'm a show as well. I don't like to call it a podcast. I hate when people are like, follow the podcast, even though like it is a podcast. For right now, it's going to be a show here. Really,
Side of Mayo.
The Side of Mayo.
Okay, we're gonna have to dive in a little while why it's called that.
Name,
okay, all right,
everybody asks that question, and that's okay because I love telling the story.
We'll dive into it.
But I was actually looking for something to do this summer. Obviously, COVID rocked the world here in March, and it actually hit right on spring break. I just came back from New York right before they shut down New York.
Did you have the Rona?
I did not have the Rona.
Have you had the Rona?
I did not have the Rona.
I like that.
I'm not trying to say like I'm not going to get it, but my girlfriend had it and I lived with her and I didn't get it.
Do you have the antibodies?
I don't know.
Well,
I went and got tested.
You should do the antibody test.
I need to do
It's just a little prick on your finger. You know what I mean?
Super easy.
Yeah.
It's better than that swab up the nose.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible, dude.
Yeah.
And they'll pay more for your blood right now if you got the antibodies.
Yeah,
that's true.
They will.
You can donate blood and you get a lot more.
Yeah.
But so I was kind of looking at what to do, and it was actually kind of funny. My dad called me one day. He goes, "Hey, Natty Light is wanting to do an internship. They're looking to hire an intern," which was crazy because a lot of people were firing interns, not doing the program.
What's Natty Light?
Natural light, like beer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Natty Light.
Light. The Natty
Light. It's like that's what you drink back east, right? Like you don't see that much out here.
A lot of college kids drink it. It's a little cheaper.
Okay.
They came out with like a seltzer, so that was like the whole thing. You had to create a flavor and then market and brand that flavor. So I was like, all right. So I made this really cool video. Ended up being a finalist. I was like 7th out of 7,000 finalists, top 7, and I didn't end up getting it. So I was like, crap, what am I going to do all summer long?
Yeah.
was like, I need to find something. What do I love to do? I love where I live. We talked about that. Love Arizona. I don't really want to leave Arizona. And with being in college, it was kind of like an option to leave, and I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a podcast highlighting people around Scottsdale because there's so much going on here.
Yeah.
I work out at a gym. Shout out Glory Gains because I love my gym. They have so many different people that work out there, whether that's like CEOs, business partners, millionaires, fitness people. It doesn't matter. Like you can just market purely off going there.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Let me start there and just see where this blossoms. So the side of Mayo show came from actually my nickname in the military was Mayo. Little joke on that one. We'll get into that. But yeah, so it really just took off. I did the first episode with the owner of the gym at Glory Gains. His name's Caleb Hawk.
Sweet.
And after that, it just like guests started flowing in.
Yeah.
And I really didn't have any problem. And now I literally could be booked out 3 months, but I was like, I'm cutting it off at a month because I don't want to plan too far in advance.
Yeah, for
Then
sure.
Things happen, things fall apart.
Of course.
And let's be honest, like you might get someone that you're like, crap, I really wish I could squeeze this person in. You guys know.
Oh yeah, all
for
the time.
So yeah, that's kind of where the podcast happened, and now I'm 7 episodes in, and it's steadily growing. Looking at the analytics, it's just going this way. So
I love it.
That's so
what
cool.
different platforms are you on out of curiosity? Are you on all of them?
So I'm on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube.
Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Okay,
Yeah,
very
YouTube,
cool.
YouTube, I need to work on a little bit. I'll just be honest on that one.
For sure.
But right now, I'm a one-man wrecking crew. Like I have a producer, but he really only does like the audio stuff. He doesn't like, I edit everything, I clip everything. I literally do almost everything for it. So
right.
It's
pretty
been a
wild
long process.
Yeah.
So are you sitting there then with the Rodecaster yourself in the deal, like
No.
doing your own audio and stuff, or do you have somebody doing that for you?
That's what my producer does.
got
But
it.
then he's just like, all right, here you get everything. Like
Yeah.
that.
Got it.
For
Puts
sure.
it on
So
a
he
hard
hands you
drive
them
for me.
SDs and
I
calls
love
it a
it.
day.
Yeah, and he's like, all right, man. And then I'm up till like 2 a.m. like editing this thing, trying to get it up on
Yeah.
YouTube before it's supposed to release at 6. And
sure.
it's a process. But
For
no,
sure.
it's so much fun. It's what I love to do. And
You're
honestly,
enjoying it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's key.
I love
Like,
it.
if you
100%.
can't love what you do, man, then you might as well just figure out what you do and go do that.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
I agree 100%. Where do you do your podcast? Obviously you're in the Dale, right? Do you have like, you know how like we have like do you have like a set? Do you have the whole, okay.
So it's not
Yours,
like this,
yours looks like the Wolf of Wall Street, baby.
Mine looks
Just a way cleaner.
Clean.
Way cleaner.
I got to see a
It's
picture
white
of it.
and
I wish I
black.
could
It's
see
dope.
Can we
It's
pop
dope.
let's pop a picture up on the
Let's-
screen,
let me
Justin,
see it. Let me
so
see
they
your
can
deal.
see his
Like,
podcast.
I'll show
it's
you
a sick
guys.
set. It literally reminds me of the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yep.
Because they're like
The Wolf's
sitting,
Den.
there's like the bookshelf
The
or
deal
whatever.
and like the black.
So here's like a really good
ordeals.
picture of.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
this
yeah.
one here.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
It's clean.
That's
But
clean.
with
See
the
the
little
table.
TV in the back.
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
little deal.
And you
know
just
what
have
I'm
like a
saying?
couple different
Like-
camera angles. Justin's
they're
gonna
already-
pop it up.
they're already popping it
Yeah, yeah. So a couple different camera angles, and then it
Yeah.
switches depending on who's talking.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's like all me too. Usually I've been running it just like split screen because it's me and one person, as like where you guys have
For sure.
2 and then whoever
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have as a guest. So you kind of like move the camera around. But
For sure.
yeah, super clean setup. It's at Inspired Media. Down in Phoenix. So I just go down there every single week. Love the people there. Carrie Pena, shout out. She always loves to shout me out. So
Yeah.
it's been great. Super clean. It's actually in like a safe. I don't know if it's like an old bank.
Oh,
And
really?
You walk in and you open this like gigantic safe door.
Oh, that's kinda
And
sick.
you walk in.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's dope.
and it's awesome for sound.
For
'Cause
sure.
then
So you
people
just
out
got to
in
bring,
front-
you have to
yeah.
bring your equipment in every time and set it all up. Like, do other people use that same set, or is it
Yes.
like, okay?
Yeah. So actually learned about it from another buddy who has a podcast that's blowing up too.
For sure.
So they do it there as well. All the equipment is there. My producer basically rents out that studio.
Got it.
And that's where
Okay.
he does like everything. He does like audiobooks. He does podcasts. He does stuff for musicians.
That's
He
cool.
does a lot of great stuff.
Yeah.
Nick Tantillo Productions, great. And has worked with me so much and helped me out so much.
sure.
So yeah.
That's awesome,
sick,
dude.
dude.
That's really cool.
That's sick.
So let's dive into a little bit about you personally, and then I want to come back to the podcast thing in a little
sure.
while too, because
I'm
there's a
curious.
couple questions I have over there. You know what I mean? We might need a couple of those people down at that
Yeah.
place to help us out with a few things here.
For sure. We need
But
some production.
so you're 26, Austin. You said these.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so you're 26.
Tall,
So you're in the
skinny, and handsome.
military. You were in college though too, right?
I still am.
Okay, so
Yes.
what's the degree? What are you going for there?
Broadcast journalism.
Okay.
So back when you actually asked me why I moved out here. That's the reason I moved out here was I wanted to play baseball.
Okay.
And back in Iowa, you just don't get recruited the same as you do out here.
Yeah,
you can
for
play
sure.
like year round out here.
Yeah.
So came out
You
here for
left-handed or
baseball.
right-handed?
Right-handed.
Right-handed.
That's why I'm not still playing baseball.
Okay. For sure.
sure.
I should have still played.
I know, right?
He's
Yeah.
left-handed.
Oh, see, yeah,
Yeah.
you could have
Oh,
gone
dude.
so much farther. I know guys that threw like 82 miles an hour and they still somehow got drafted.
Wow.
just
For
because
sure.
they threw
Just
left-handed.
left-handed,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's it.
100%.
But yeah, moved out here for that. But I always knew I wanted to go into sports broadcasting. And like I said, I was supposed to graduate in May. COVID rocked the world. Sports literally went empty. Like there was no sports. All you could do is talk about is LeBron or Patrick Mahomes, the GOAT. And
Yeah.
that's it. And you can only talk about that so much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
For sure.
I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back and get my minor because, or a minor in mass communication because I get paid to go to school as well through the military. So I was like, you know what? Let me do that. Let me find out what I want to do. And I'm going to dive into that because as you can see, the sports world can just get shut off like that. So you got to have something else. That
100%.
No matter what goes down in the world, you can still continue to do what you love to do. So decided not to graduate. I'll graduate in December. I literally could not take a single class and I'd still graduate in December.
That's so crazy.
And I didn't want to do a Zoom graduation. I thought that was like not what I wanted to do after like a 7-year period going by.
Put in all that work.
Like I'm not graduating in my living room on Zoom. It's not happening.
Not going to do it.
Pay all that money to do that.
Oh my,
Because that's an experience, right? Like you put in the nitty gritty to achieve that result. You want to go out there and get the pictures and be on the and have the guy. I've seen some really cool graduations where like they bring in like the cool speakers and stuff. The whole nine, right?
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You ever seen that one?
Oh, dude,
that's like
Matthew McConaughey.
Have you seen the Matthew McConaughey one?
So good,
dude, unbelievable.
Like I watched that as motivation. Talk. Oh my!
I'll like send it. We'll send it back and forth to each other.
I'm like,
Denzel Washington. All these guys that go and like they'll do appearances. Yeah, and actually, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but it doesn't really matter because it didn't happen. But Herm Edwards, who is the head football coach at ASU, was going to come speak at the veteran like kind of graduation thing. They do like a separate veteran one for you where you get your stole. He was going to come talk, and I actually got to interview him, so I was super excited to see that. He doesn't do it during the fall because of football season, so they finally got him, and then of course,
naturally,
nothing. I was like, no, I'm going to walk across the stage, and I want Herm Edwards to be right on the other side.
Yeah, 100%.
So you're pushing that back a little bit. So do you think then the podcast kind of ties into because sports broadcasting, right? So like the podcast in theory could open up a lot of doors for you. I mean, because people can see you, they hear your voice, they see kind of your style eventually, right?
Yeah,
and that could actually lead right into like what you wanted to do anyways, and they play off each other.
Exactly. Watching the news during COVID and everything like that, I saw that there was some things like now I know how to cut up a news package because I was in the news channel that they have. It's called Cronkite News. I was in that. So I literally know how they cut up packages, and I've watched them cut out important details. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start my own platform to where I can interview people. And then, I can get athletes in there, and they're like, yeah, have you seen this podcast? Like, I loved it. It was so much fun. Like, everything we talked about is literally in the show. He doesn't cut out stuff. So, you know what? Let's go to him instead of doing that. I have so many connections with the Cardinals. One of my professors was actually the PR guy for the Cardinals, so I still talk to him like quite often.
Sure.
For sure.
And then just like people through Scottsdale, like athletes work out at the gym all the time, so I can connect through them. And that's the connection. They want that more than they want like somebody asking like, oh, so you went 0 for 2 tonight. What went through your head?
Yeah, of course.
Like they don't want to answer that question. They go, well, I should have got a hit. I don't know what to tell you. Like I get paid millions of dollars.
They don't fucking know.
Yeah. I have friends that play baseball still, and they're in the big leagues, and I literally was doing an interview with them, and they're like, we love your interviews because you don't ask us dumb questions.
For sure.
Like I love that.
Because there is such thing as dumb questions.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There is. Like obviously, like when they're like, oh, you struck out to lose the game. What was going through your mind? They're like, duh, dumbass. Like I wanted to hit the ball. Like, I didn't want to lose the game.
I wanted to score.
So it cracks me up.
Common sense ain't common though.
That's why I wanted to open my own and just not ask the stupid questions. Like ask the questions that they want, and they're like, wow, okay, like he's educated.
For sure. You got to actually think about it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Rather than
I like that
whole ordeal. That's kind of interesting.
It is.
I think, and again, Austin, I never went to college, right? He graduated high school with a 1.6.
Barely.
Barely.
Hey,
I think.
Look at you now, though.
I think I graduated like a 2.3, but call him out, Mr. Messyberg here. I slipped him a couple hundreds because I was the number 1 drug dealer in high school.
Oh, okay.
So that was how I was able to have some cash flow. So I just.
That's it. Just like that.
2.3 graduated. My mom was fired up. I was living the dream. Here we are.
You were just excited to get out of there.
I want to talk a little bit about college, bro.
Yeah.
Because you said your professor, the connection, that connection. That's something that I think is incredible. If you have the right mindset, you got the right attitude heading into something like that, you walk out a winner because you can make so many new connections that people that didn't go to college aren't able to do. Right?
Yep.
It's a fact. Right?
Yeah.
You're in a facility that has thousands of individuals that know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody's dad that is that person that it is that you want to interview.
Exactly.
That person that's going to lead you to 100 other people. Talk about that a little bit because you're honestly the first person I think I've ever met in my entire life minus the doctors, or the lawyers, or I don't know if police officers go to college or whatever they got to do.
Like they have police academy.
Yeah, police academy. It's a little different than college, but you're the first person I've ever met that is going to college that actually has their head on their shoulders. That is like, I know what I'm doing with this.
Yeah.
Normal people, right? They go get their bachelor's degree in psychology and they never do anything with it.
Yeah, they go to for business.
Yeah, for business, and they don't even know how to fucking sell a piece of gum to their fucking
They
friend.
never start a business.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you are like, oh, there's a pandemic. You're going for sports broadcasting or whatever it was, right? And then you're like, dude, I'll just start a podcast. Because you can't do sports broadcasting right now because they got fake fans that are leaving the crowds. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah.
That was funny.
The fake fans.
Yeah, they were leaving. That was funny. But you like are doing something with you're like pivoting, right? It's incredible, dude.
You just have to I mean, so I went to college for 2 years and I played baseball. But I'm not going to lie. Like at 18 years old, like I knew what I wanted to do, but I had no idea how to go about doing it.
For sure.
So that's why I went into the military. And then post-military, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to let anyone stop me anymore. Like I did 3.5 years of people telling me what to do all the time. Now I want to do what I want to do. And I want to make it worth it. And I think it was a lot of my leadership there. When I laid out my plan, I was like, this is how I'm going to go about it. This is what I'm going to do. They were like, okay. Like, you're ready to get out. Like, some people aren't ready. Some people just get out because they don't want to be in the military anymore. Right. Like, I had a plan.
Sure.
And that plan came, like, full fruition now. But it was kind of tough. So now that I'm older, it's so weird being in college at, like, 27 or 26 and being with kids that are, like, 18, 19 years old. They can't even drink yet, and I'm out in Old Town. But that's where, like, the maturity really, and once you grow up and you start to, like, okay, like, these connections really do matter. Like, one of my good buddies, his name's Scott, he just won, like, national college broadcaster of the year. Like that dude's going places. He landed in a market that was way over where any kid that graduates should go. And so like knowing that you're going to make those connections and like, hey, I might run into you later on down the road and I'm going to need you. And same thing, vice versa. Like, let's stay in touch.
Yeah.
And that is really like, that's a Scottsdale thing.
For sure.
That's where like you have a company and you want to grow the company. Like you have to have connections all over the state and then all over the world.
For sure.
Everywhere else in the world like doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Like I grew up in the Midwest. They don't do that. Like they make connections, but they've had the connections forever because they've been family friends. Like they were at the birth probably.
Yeah.
But out here, like you got to keep those connections. So in college, I'm like, all right, these kids are all, 18, 19 years old. They still got to grow. But like if they can do what they do now and they're going to grow, like that's where you need to stay in touch with them. One of my buddies who I have, he comes and does photography and videography for my shows. Dude is about to pop off. He literally does all the videos for ASU basketball and football, and he can't get paid because he is a student. And I'm like, that's BS, dude. Like you should be getting paid like big time money.
Yeah.
So like obviously like I'm trying to hook him up with as many athletes as I can because people help me out. Why would I not help out somebody else that should be getting paid a lot of money that gets paid zero? Yeah. Like that's where the connections come in, and that's where talking to different people and entrepreneurs and stuff, guys like you guys, that's where it comes into play, where that's okay. I need to remember this right now. We might not be like best friends right now, and I may not need you right now, but in the future we might need each other. And like let's make sure that we keep that together. Like I talk to 40 different people on a daily basis. Just like every time you got to keep those connections.
Yeah,
100%. Definitely maturity comes with that.
Your network is your net worth, right?
Exactly.
And so you can speed that up potentially in college. I mean, that's one of the things that you can do with college, right? It's like a lot of people watching, a lot of people listening, maybe, I look, maybe you did your college degree, you don't do something with it, but you gain a bunch of connections you wouldn't have gained otherwise.
It's worth it. Who knows?
Have a different mindset. I mean, have a different mindset going into it. I mean, I think if I were to know now what it is that I know now in terms of my mindset in business, I probably would have gone to college, bro. I mean, I probably wouldn't have gotten accepted anywhere for sure, but I probably would have gone just for that, like, a reason, right?
Yeah.
Like, just to show up to some classes that were interesting to me, to make connections with individuals that, I mean, what are they called? Like lifelines?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, call life. Whenever you don't think you need that person at that current point in life, in 1 year or in 6 months, something's going to happen. You're going to be like, damn.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that I needed this individual. I needed his connect. I needed his dad. I needed his mom. I needed his expertise. I needed to stay in this hotel or whatever it was, right? Which I think is quite interesting.
And like, I would not be where I'm at if I didn't go to school. So I got out of the military thinking like, okay, like I'm just going to go to school. And once I graduate, that's when I'm going to pop off. No, like I had to do so much in college that I didn't know about. And I actually went and applied for a tutoring job with the Pat Tillman Veterans Center, thinking like, all right, this way I can meet some veterans. Like I'm not by myself. Because when you go to school at 20 years old, or I was 5 or 6 with like 18, 19 year old kids, it's like, you don't want to talk to people. They think you're weird.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, well, I still need to get involved somehow. So I got involved, and this lady, Michelle, she actually was like, hey, you want to be in broadcast journalism? Why don't you like do a podcast that we've already started? The guy graduated. Do you want to take it over? I was like, sure. It was actually a radio show. It's a live radio show. And I was like, sure. So I started doing that, and that's when I got my feet wet. And I was like, all right, like this is the stuff you need to do early. I actually won an award like first year doing it. It was best community volunteer program in the country for college. So I got to go to New York and accept an award with that. So that was when it like really kicked off. Like,
yeah, that's super dope.
Like right off the bat, I can get recognition. So like, I'm going to go this way. It's not just going to class and doing the bare minimum. Like you have to go above and beyond in everything you do. If you don't, you're really wasting your time.
100%.
And so
how
like,
you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah. And so like if you guys obviously like you didn't go to college, but you guys are obviously thriving right now. You don't need to go to college to thrive in life.
But you can't, both of them do work, right? And you got to figure out I think people watching and listening got to figure out what worked for them.
Yes.
And so it's like, look, you don't have to go to college to make a lot of money, but some people do, right? Mm-hmm. And that's just the reality of the world we live in, right? You got to figure out what works I think so many people look at other people and they're like, oh, that's what they did. But it's like, well, but what they did might not work for you.
It might not,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
And that happens in so many things. Like you can ask questions, but you have to piece together what works best for you. Like the guy that I ask questions with his podcast, it would never work for mine because his whole brand is completely different. And like he has a company that helps him, so he has like that natural income, whereas I didn't. I'm like a student trying to piece everything together right now. So what he did, and he does like a lot of athletes, a lot of musicians, and that's kind of his niche. Nowhere near my niche. Like I eventually would like to get those people, but not right now. So I would ask him his questions and then kind of move it and go towards my way. But that also comes with experience, right? Like since doing it in college, I learned like, okay, this works, this doesn't. Yeah. This really works, this really freaking doesn't. So it's a lot of trial and error, but college helped me because I could do it and not have to worry about a lot of stuff. Whereas like if I have sponsors and everything, like, I got to be on point and bring it every single time because I'm literally getting paid to do this now.
For sure.
So now that I have the experience and hopefully I can pick up a couple sponsors, I got a couple calls today. So then it's game on from there, and it's about to pop off real quick.
That'd be super cool.
I love it, dude. What do your parents do?
Yeah,
sorry.
Like no, you're good.
So
I'll hold my question.
my mom.
Make sure. Remember
I will remember this one.
Or write it down.
Tell Justin a secret. That way we don't.
I'll write it down and fold it up.
We're so bad at that.
Hey, I do it all the time. I'm like sitting there in my podcast, and I'm like. And then I got to edit that part out. So it's not like a 17-second.
For sure. Like what the was I trying to say?
No. So my dad works for Nestle. Okay. They actually just laid off a bunch of people, but they kept
Nestle,
him.
like the chocolate milk.
Yes, but different like side of that company. Okay, but yes, that company.
He does time to hook it up.
Yeah.
He does like DiGiorno pizzas.
Okay,
and,
like, tell him to hook it up.
Yeah.
That's how I got through college when I was like 18, 19. He just 20 frozen pizzas, man.
Consider it done.
Yeah, right.
That's what built those muscles right there.
I would go back with crates of like pizza, and me and my roommates would eat for the entire week.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's sick.
And then my mom's in medical sales. Okay. So breast cancer has been in my family with my dad's mom, and then also a few others. So she does that. So she like helps treat that, and that's like kind of the medical sales she's in now. So
for sure.
And are they together?
Yes.
And they're in Iowa, or they're here now?
No, they moved out here with me when I was 16, and they didn't want to go back either.
Yeah.
And they've been together. I don't know. I think it's like 33 years.
How old is he? Your dad?
My dad, I'm going to butcher. I think he's like 50, 55. My mom's 56.
Got it.
Yeah, they're only like a year apart.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Mom, that's cool. Definitely.
Medical sales. I know a couple of individuals that are in medical sales.
Great business to be in.
Oh, phenomenal.
That thing murders.
Unbelievable.
I didn't even realize. Like, I'm like, first time I met somebody that they're like, yeah, I'm in medical sales. I'm like, that's cool. That's sick. And then like, you get him a couple of cocktails and he starts telling me about the
full story.
Medical sales. Yeah. I'm like, you make that much money in medical sales?
Sure.
That's crazy, dude.
Unbelievable.
Well, and my parents were never like that. Like, there was actually a time where we didn't grow up with a lot. Like we had a roof over our head and we had food in our bellies, but anything in excess like wasn't it. Yeah. My mom used to work 2 jobs. She'd work Monday through Friday, leave, go work in a different ER Friday through Sunday, like just so we could chase our dreams and I could play baseball. Yeah. So they could afford to play, so I could pay for this team that was really, really good, but we couldn't afford it. So we had to like figure something out.
Yeah, for sure.
And she worked 2 jobs. My dad picked up a couple different jobs. And so like we've had that blue collar mentality. Like 100%. Nothing's ever been given to us. So we really work and grind, and they still have that same mindset. Now, they bought their like dream home that they wanted. They've had some success. So Of course, they did it when we were out of the house.
Yeah,
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But
naturally.
no, I mean it's good. They really worked our ass off in every single
That's cool.
respective way, and that's where I learned everything from them. And just watch them go Monday through Friday. I mean, I think my dad's taken like 4 sick days in the last like 7 years.
Wow.
Like he
That's
does
insane.
not take days
You're
off.
just addicted to the hustle.
Super cool.
I love it.
And like that's working for Nestle. Like I was telling him, I'm like, man, if you had your own business, you'd be so successful just for the amount of time that you put in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, COVID with my mom actually was huge because a lot of hospitals were, pumping people in and out.
For sure.
But for her division, they weren't doing a lot because you couldn't do like extra surgeries, different things like that. Only the necessities. So it was a time for people to like reevaluate what they wanted to buy. So like new equipment. Okay. So mom worked from home. She's still working from home right now, but she usually travels like all over to like California, Texas, Colorado, all that stuff. So
that's awesome.
Mom's grinding.
Yeah. That's
so they're both hustlers.
Sick.
They've been hustling. My question was just what
remembered
the military, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Why go into the military, and then what'd you learn from doing the military? And what age were you? Were you 18? You just went right in the military, or
no?
Okay.
So I was 20 years old when I went into the military. I did 2 years of school and played baseball. So we decided to do that. It was actually like a really easy decision for me. So every male in our family, hopefully I don't butcher this, has been in the military in some sort of way, whether it's like Navy, Army, whatever, since the Revolutionary War. Like we've traced it back to then. So I was like, all right, well, this is my time. Baseball really wasn't working out.
For sure.
And I wanted to like do my part, and I wanted to travel, and I wanted to jump out of airplanes. That was like, that was it.
For sure.
And so I walked in the recruiter's office, told them what I wanted. And I was actually like broke too. I was working 2 jobs and it was awful, hating life. And I was like, there's gotta be something better. So
100%.
Walked in and they're like, well, the jobs that you want doesn't have those, but I actually have this job that I think you would like. And they have both airborne. And then there's only 3 places if you have an airborne contract that you can go. It's North Carolina and Alaska and then Italy.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, well, that's
pretty easy.
North Carolina's the crappiest one.
I do Alaska, but Italy sounds great. I heard they got good pizza and even better wine and
for sure.
So
good-looking people.
Oh yeah, beautiful women. I know that's what you were getting at. So I enlisted and went through it, and it was actually like tough. Like it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, just from the movies you watch with basic training, but more like the mental game and being away. Like I'm close with my family. We always do like Sunday dinners, have family days and stuff like that. So when I got stationed in Italy, I was so excited, but at the same time, I was like, crap, like I'm not going to be around for like 3 straight years. But I got the job I wanted. Got to Italy, jumped out of my first airplane, and I was like, wow, this is it.
Yeah.
For
like
sure.
this is
That's
it. Okay.
Cool.
And then and you really grow up in the military. So that's one thing that I think is you don't learn anywhere else. Like college, nothing. Like you won't learn the type of skills that you learn in the military, where if you're not there, like you really get messed up.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like you want to get yelled at all day long, like show up 5 minutes late.
Yep.
For sure.
I bet. And so I grew up a lot. Luckily, I had really good friends around me. They super helpful. They knew what I wanted. They knew I wasn't like a scumbag, because there are kids that go in there and they don't really think like, oh, this is like a full-time job. They just want to kind of slack off and
for sure
chill. So
get by.
Yeah.
They
so
want
like
the free housing or whatever else comes
free
with
housing. Like
stuff.
I've never seen so many people like just show up and find the next woman they can and get married as they do in the military.
Yeah.
For
Like
sure,
it's
100%.
it's 100% true. And in Italy, everybody goes and they marry strippers.
Yeah.
They marry the strippers, make bank there, and like my boys, they would get cars from the it was insane. Some of the things that would happen.
Sugar mamas.
Oh yeah, and definitely. And then they love because they know they're in 2 years
100%.
they're going to the United States.
exactly. The US.
Yeah.
It's that game. But I loved it. Got to travel. I've been to Greece. I've been to France. I've been Spain. I've been to Ukraine. Ukraine was like a weird place to go. But definitely learned how to be like a man and how to grow up and how to attack your goals and not let people tell you no. Because like you get told no all the time in the military.
Sure.
Like, people ask me why I got out. It got really annoying having to ask to go more than 2 hours away from the base.
Right.
Like I shouldn't have to ask that. I'm 22 years old. Like that's
for
BS.
sure.
No. So, once I learned my job was a 13 Fox. So if you guys don't know what that is, I basically talk to aircraft and tell them like where to drop bombs.
Right.
Okay.
So that was my job in like the most nutshell way.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I perfected that craft. A lot of people had respect for me, and I just
sick.
took that respect as like, okay, I'm going to continue to give it back. And so my rank was very, very low, but I was friends with like very high ranking people because I work directly for them.
Yeah.
We're an asset to like an infantry unit. So they really loved me and they knew I could work. So they took care of me. I never got messed with after the first month.
Yeah.
For sure.
Except for one. I had like one dispute where we almost got in a fight, but that's what they'd let you do in the military. They're like, drop your top, no ranks, throw hands.
Yeah.
Let's see what you can do.
Yeah.
And the real man walks out. And if anything, like you just get your anger out.
For sure.
For sure.
It does get super annoying when you're just waking up every day like 5 a.m. running and like you're around the same people. We were locked in a building in Ukraine for 2 months together, like 90 dudes and one, like we had Friday was fight night.
Yep.
We had wrestling nights, like because you had to get that anger out somehow.
to
After a while, like you just
like
get away, man, get away from me. I want to be by myself. So
yeah.
For
That's
sure.
kind of nuts.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy, man. You know, a lot of people don't think about the different things that you learn in the military. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
Different skills.
Yeah, just random survival. I mean, like all kinds of stuff, I would imagine. Like just going through that training process and physically, but even emotionally and mentally and the whole nine, right? Like actually learning how to survive and push forward. Like you said, wake up every day, show up on time. You know, these basic like skill sets that really are what make an entrepreneur or a business person or success. Like people that are successful, you know, a lot of them may have the same skill set of people that, you know, are in the military.
I look at so many different people's like companies and a lot of them are like veteran owned and operated. That's because these people, like there were days where I didn't sleep for like 27, 28 hours. Like, and you have to stay up because you're moving. I fell asleep one time walking.
Yeah.
It was in the middle of the night and I just like fell asleep. And when I woke up, I was like smacked the ground with my face because I was so tired. I'd been up for so long. But now if I need to stay up and edit my podcast and it's 2 a.m, like I'm pissed, but I can do it.
Yeah, no problem.
Because I know I need to get it out on time.
At whatever time.
Yeah, because I know like at 6 a.m, like this episode is dropping come hell or high water. Like I'm getting the content out. If anything, even if I don't have like 100,000 listeners right now, right? My 1,000 listeners, like it's going to be there when I say it's going to be there.
Yeah.
Because that's probably the biggest thing. Is like there's tasks that you have in life where you're like, okay, if it doesn't work out, we'll adjust. But there's other tasks that are like no fail tasks.
Yeah.
I cannot let this one falter because in the military people die.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, that's just like
it's literally life or death, right?
Yeah.
Like in the military, which I think is like a really unique skill set, right? Like where if you make an error, like it's life or death. Like that there's no in between, right? It's like, you know, kill or be killed, right?
Yep.
And you know, I think that's a very unique, like, and I've never been, you know what I mean? So I've but like just listening to guys like you though, right? Watching movies and just thinking through what we've been through to achieve what we've achieved, you know, a lot of that same stuff applies.
Oh yeah.
So
you
sick.
know,
Sleepless nights, just really trying to grind and things falling apart that you have to figure out along the way. I don't know how many missions we went on that it was like things would fall apart and you're like, all right, well, we have to figure something out now.
In real time, right? Like you got to improvise.
You gotta go. Yeah. There's no like, oh, okay, let's stop. Let's go back. Like restart. Like, no, it's like you have to keep moving forward and just figure it out. That's what I tell you.
That's super cool.
But no, the military was fun. I really complained probably more than I should have at the time. Now I definitely miss it. I miss the brotherhood that I had with all my buddies. I still stay in contact with most of them. It's really hard not to see them after you live with them, literally like in the same room,
For sure.
next room over. Like you go drinking every Friday night. Like it was almost like in college, but you got paid a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
So I miss that's probably the thing I miss the most, that jumping out of airplanes. But as far as like the waking up I wake up at 5 now anyway, but that's just because I gotta get shit moving.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I definitely missed my brothers. Talk to them and just continue.
Are a lot of them still in the military, or did a lot of them get out?
Some of them stayed in. Most of them got out though. The ones that are staying in are thriving. I just had lunch with one that went, and now he's in special forces, and he's like, yeah, I just got an opportunity, and I'm gonna go and do that. And then another one did the exact same thing. And I just like talk to these guys, and now it's to the point like they've gotten so successful that I can't know where they're at. I can't use their real names. Like I can't do any of that stuff. But most of them got out because they want to do the same type of stuff, go to college, do their thing. But just to watch them be successful too is awesome.
Super cool.
Super sick.
They're always supportive of me, so I gotta be supportive of them.
Of course.
Yeah,
do you have any
sure.
like crazy like military story, like something nuts?
What's
I don't
crazy?
know, like you know, something crazy you seen happen or something rather another.
I got stories for days. Do you want like a personal? Or you want like an army story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like something where you're just like your boot, you know, you peed down your right leg like I did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So actually, right before I got ready to get out, so usually you don't do a jump like right before you get out, because like if you get injured, which is a very real possibility, then you're gonna get held over. You're gonna have to stay in the military. There's paperwork. It's a huge long process. So they made me jump with 2 weeks left in my contract, and I was like trying to get out of it. They wouldn't let me. I was like, if I get injured, like I'm screwed.
How high do you get? Yeah, do you jump when you're
1,500 feet?
Oh wow!
Yeah, so it's not like up in the clouds. We're hooked up in the plane. So the second we like jump out of the plane,
it pulls
you get
your
ripped
chute
out of the plane. Yeah, we're connected inside, so it just like pulls your chute out.
Okay.
But so I was like, all right, like I'll just jump, whatever, because you can't argue with some of these people.
For sure.
Yeah,
especially at the rank that I was at.
Yeah.
So I did it, and it actually turned out to be. I found out why they made me jump because they needed numbers. We got a brand new sergeant major in, and they were trying to impress him. That's what they always did. Well, the jump was actually way too dangerous to jump. Like the winds were way too high to the point they were dropping us off the drop zone, and we were blowing onto the drop zone, and half the people were blowing off the drop zone onto this like main road in Italy. So I was like, all right, well, if I get hurt, like then I'm screwed, but let's just do it. So I jump, and I hear about these 3 guys right before me on the aircraft, right before me. 3 guys broke both their tibia and fibia in both legs.
Wow.
Literally like had to get wheelchaired off. So I'm thinking, this is not going well. Like this is not going well at all. So of course, like it's a night jump too. I'm sorry, I left that out.
Okay.
So you can't even see where you're
nothing,
going.
Yeah.
And when you land,
do you got like flashlights or something on your deal or no?
No.
You
just have to ride
blind
it in.
doing the ding.
Yeah. So
you hit a pole. You hit a pole.
Yeah. For
no,
sure.
like literally.
No wonder you're getting injured. I'm like, sheesh.
Like 3 people, right? So all we have is a bag that we have to release, and it's about like 40 feet below us. So you feel that hit the ground, so you know, like, okay, I'm close. But you can't see the ground. It's pitch black outside. And so I jumped. You don't have night vision on, nothing. And I'm just like sitting there looking in the abyss. You can't see people around you. You can see the lights on the plane flashing as it's like.
Are you in the middle? Is the drop set like where you land? You know the landing.
Yeah.
What is it? Because wouldn't there normally be lights? Are you way far out from the city?
We were way out.
So you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. We were way out.
Is it like foresty vibe? What's the vibe like? Like what's the territory?
This was so there's a huge mountain. I'll show you guys a picture whenever I can pull it up off air. But it's like this huge mountain at the end. But otherwise, it's like all farmland.
Got it.
So we actually paid this farmer to jump every time. That's where they always jump. So this farmer was making bank off this. But so I jumped, and all I could see is the plane flying toward. I knew the plane was flying towards the mountain. So I knew there was a road over here, but I also knew there was a chain link fence over here, and there's a well somewhere over there. And so they tell you like, be careful if you fall in the well. So I go, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. All right, so feel my bag hit, and I'm like, all right, so I'm close. Well, I didn't realize how fast the wind was blowing. And so I landed literally like sideways like this and just boom, smacked the ground. Like got concussed, and I was like, okay, let me get up. Let me just make sure, like, get my surroundings. You have to like pull your chute, because if you don't, it'll keep dragging you.
Yeah,
and then it sucks even worse. So did that, ended up getting all my stuff, was like still in a daze, walked over. Everybody in my little like group like had concussions.
Wow.
So we're like, this is so stupid. Like, why are they doing this jump? This wasn't like in a combat zone. Like, this was just a training jump.
For sure.
We go back that night. The sergeant major is ripping everybody a new asshole. He goes, did you do this? Why are you hurting your soldiers? You guys are the stupidest people I've ever seen. And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Finally, someone is calling these dumb asses out. Like, literally 17 people got hurt. Off leg and ankle. I still have my ankle, like, bone on the side is still huge, because I wrecked it on a rock. And I had to limp. I couldn't take off my boot for 2 days, because that was when I could get in to see the doctors. But so many things go wrong when you jump. We had a guy like, not like his chute didn't pull, so he just smacked against the plane for a little bit. Super dangerous. We had one guy land on a flagpole, so he couldn't get down. We had guys land in trees all the time. Like, when you think, the nation's best army, like, we are.
Yeah.
We also pump $420 billion into it, which is way more than any other country. But so many things go wrong. And you put people in charge.
And it's training. A lot of it's training, right?
A lot of it's training accidents.
That's the entire thing, is you have to, and that's why they're good in and when it's actually going down, like when shit's hitting the fan, because you guys have been through so much training. Mm-hmm. You know, you've prepped for that 1,000 times.
Yep.
But you've gotten hurt 1,000 times. Like you've been through the shitstorm to get to that day where it's like, okay, now it's the real thing, right?
Yeah.
And this is what we've been practicing for, gentlemen. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Let's lock and load, right?
There's been other times like the funnier stories, like nothing like crazy, like where like people got like blown up, but you just be in Germany, and like all of a sudden, like you're walking and you run into like another platoon and some dude shitting next to a tree, and you're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like, just funny stuff like that happened all the time. Like personal stories, I don't know if I can say half of them.
Yeah.
My birthday story was a funny one. So I didn't even want to go out on my birthday, and my boys like took me out. They're like, we're going to take you out to this club. My phone was on 5%. I was like, let me at least charge it a little bit. They're like, no, let's go. Well, in Italy, it's not like you can just like book an Uber and get home. So they took me to this club. We had a blast. Went to the bathroom, come back, and they all left. I was like, where'd you guys go? Well, one buddy was still there. They're like, I think they left, dude. And I was like, okay, well, just wait here. Like, I'm going to go outside and look for him. When I went outside, that buddy left. I guess like we were all super wasted. We were.
Yeah, we were.
So I was like, well, we're hella far away from the barracks. It's like 6 a.m. Everything stays open until 6 a.m. there. I was like, it's 6 a.m. Like, I'll find a way home. So I started walking. Well, in Italy, like, prostitution's legal. So there's streetwalkers everywhere. And you're just like, no, like, thank you. And then I finally realized how far away from the base I was. It was about like a 20-minute walk, or a 20-minute drive, sorry, and an even longer walk. So I started walking, thinking I'm going the right way. Not even close. Walking the opposite way. End up, like, I was like, I'm going to hop this fence and I'm going to be good. Hop the fence. Got attacked by like 2 dogs. And then the lady came running outside with like a wooden spoon, like yelling at me. And like, I was so drunk. I don't even know how I got over the fence. And started walking again, just fell down at a gas station. I sat down. I was like, okay, I need to find some way to get home. Like, my phone's dead. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, hopefully just like a taxi drives by or something. But like, Italians are different. They don't work to live, or it's the opposite of America. They're the opposite. They just like they work just to like make money. Like, that's really it. So like taxis, they don't care. They'll tell you no.
Yeah.
If you ask for a ride.
They live to work.
Yeah. That's what it is. So this taxi or this group came up and they had to get gas, and I was like, hey, do you mind if I borrow you guys' phone? And they're like, yeah, for $100. And I was like, I don't have $100, dude. Like, can I just use your freaking phone?
Yeah.
Luckily, like these three dudes were about to like, they knew I was military and they don't like the military there. So I was about to get my ass beat by these 3 dudes. And this girl came up and she goes, don't be freaking dickheads, and like called me an Uber and got me home. And I literally called my superiors when I got home and I was like, I'm done. I'm out. I never want to do this. Like, I almost got my ass beat. I called my buddies. I was like, why'd you leave me? Like, dude, you were gone for like 45 minutes. I guess like I was like passed out in the back. I don't know.
Who knows?
And that whole night was a blur, and it was so fun because I did not even want to go. I was like, this freaking sucks. Like, I just got left alone on my birthday night. That's whatever. Good. Hey, whatever.
Yeah, I like it, dude.
I like it, man.
So what was the main reasoning of starting your podcast then? We'll dive into that, and then we can close this thing out and not keep you too long. But what was the reasoning for you wanting to actually do podcasts? Like, you know, our reasoning was because we want to interview badass guests and then just, you know, inspire the world with sharing it, you know, with some expensive cameras, but
right, with expensive equipment.
Yeah.
Same type of reason. I love meeting new people. And I feel like in today's technological world, everyone goes through Instagram and everything like that, and you might not know somebody from Instagram, and you can see their pictures, but you have no idea like what they actually think, who they are. So I want to meet people that are doing things in life. Like, so many people are just okay with being average, and like, I'm not. I do not want to be freaking average. And living in Scottsdale, like, I was playing basketball the other day, and these like 10-year-old kids were talking about like making $100,000. I'm like, how are you making $100,000? They're 10 years old. And I was like, wow, it's just a different lifestyle. But there's so many different things that start 100%. In Scottsdale where people move it like to LA. And like, you can go to LA and like do a podcast and everybody's like a freaking entrepreneur or actor out there. But when you're here, it's a little bit different because it's not every day. So many people are just like, okay. But when you have the opportunity, there's so many athletes that live out here. So many companies, so many influencers, everything like that, and they're the nicest people. If you can approach them properly and you're not like sliding in their DMs all the time, like just trying to be obnoxious, like a lot of people are just really cool. So when you can sit down and just have a conversation like we're having, get a little happy, little fun. We don't have alcohol today, but that's all right. Next time.
Yes.
You really start to see that people are freaking cool. And if you can produce a product that's different than everybody else's, where you bring that same energy every single time, like, that's cool. And that's, people have told me, you know how to interview. You know how to talk, that you start making money off it.
For sure.
Because I don't want to do, like, I literally, one of the things that I did before the military, I used to stock shelves for Nestle. My dad got me a job. And I was like, I am never ever doing this again. I can't stock pizzas at 5 in the morning. Like, I gotta be something's gotta be bigger for me than this. And 100%. So every time that I like think about struggling and just like getting a job just to pay the bills, I go back to that moment. I'm like, I never ever want to put a pizza on the shelf ever again. So I was like, what am I good at? Find that niche and go from it. And since I played baseball, like, I have friends that, you know, still play, like I said, so I can bring them on. They help me out. Different people from the gym, different company. Now I'm friends with every single person that comes in my studio. And I think that's cool. It's like, I went to the lake with one of my buddies that I had on, the comedian, episode 3, Eric Bernal. And now we're like good buddies. I literally keep in contact with every single person.
Yeah. No, it's
just more connections made, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Give people all over the world a unique perspective on different things.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And Arizona is one of the fastest growing states.
Oh, dude.
As far as population.
It's not like the number one.
I think, I know they're top 5. Definitely Phoenix is for population growth. Yep. So it's like, why not do something here? Like LA's got everybody going on.
People are going to start leaving LA, man.
Yeah. People already are.
People are leaving. People are leaving LA.
Nuts.
And they're coming here. They're going, I mean, a lot of them are coming here.
Yeah. Here, Florida.
Vegas. Yeah. Vegas. Colorado's a big one.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
So I love it, man.
Dude. Well, Nick, thanks for coming on the show, brother.
Yeah, we appreciate you being here, brother. We got to get on your show.
Yeah, no, we are going to get you guys on my show. It's going to happen. I got you, boys. We're going to get that. We'll get that booked out. After this.
Yeah,
I love it.
Sweet deal. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the A&A show. Again, as Austin said, we do accept $100 bills. We'll put our P.O. box down below, but we don't want you guys' $100 bills. What we do want is you guys to send us some scotch. If you guys were interested in doing that, definitely shoot Austin a DM, okay? Sponsors are welcome for scotch because we like drinking good whiskey. And but really the main point of that was just share it with 5 friends. You know what I mean? Just do your part. You listen to this. You got some value. Nick's a stud. Definitely go tune into his show because he's gonna have some.
Check it out. We'll put all his information down below. So
Exactly.
definitely go check out his podcast. Check us out on his podcast.
Yes,
because we're gonna be doing that here shortly. That's that's about it, man.
That's it, man. That's it.
We'll see you guys on the next one.
Probably definitely stay tuned for the next one. The next one's gonna be quite interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what we do.
All right, guys.
See you guys.
See you then. Boom, baby.
Boom, baby.
Boom.
Just like that, my friend.